Hey, thanks for joining us on this Tuesday night. So America's largest privately held company based right here in Minnesota, and today it made news. Not good news to hundreds of families. The agricultural giant Cargill announced this week it's laying off 5% of their workforce. That's about 8,000 people, and it includes 475 Minnesotans. The company is based in Wayzata. But so far, inflation has seemed to be working in Cargill's favor. So why at this point are so many people losing their jobs? Ian Russell went to find out.
Yeah, well, Jana, the reason for these layoffs could be tied to a few reasons, including declining revenue, a decline in the U.S. cattle population, and changes just in consumer habits, to name a few. So the big question is, what do these major changes mean for one of the country's largest corporations? The short answer is a lot, but it really all depends on what happens in the next few months. If the numbers sound surprising, you wouldn't be alone.
The amount of layoffs was quite substantial.
Cargill, the United States' largest private company, has announced major changes to their company worldwide. That includes reducing nearly 5% of their global workforce, or roughly 8,000 people.
I was kind of surprised. Not totally. They had been suffering a decline in profits in the previous couple of quarters.
The job loss includes nearly 500 employees here in the Twin Cities at their Wayzata-based office center. Cargill informed the state Monday that 475 employees will lose their jobs by February 5th as the company undergoes, quote, business restructuring. In a statement, Cargill said, quote, to strengthen Cargill's impact, we must realign our talent and resources to align with our strategy. Unfortunately, that means reducing our global workforce.
I think in percentage terms, the overall layoff number is kind of large, even allowing for Cargill's size.
Dave Vang is a finance professor at St. Thomas. He says despite how big of a company Cargill is, he doesn't expect any large-scale repercussions from this, especially anything pointing towards a global recession.
I guess I would be cautious to tie what they're doing to the entire global economy right now.
But what about for other massive corporations like Cargill? That is a different story.
A lot of our iconic companies coming out of the pandemic are having trouble.
Chris Farrell is the senior economics contributor at Marketplace and Minnesota Public Radio. He says while we're focused on Cargill here, there is a bigger impact.
So I do think there is some wider significance for some of the brand names in corporate America are struggling as they're adapting to this new business environment.
And many companies are starting to plan for what's in the future, including tariffs proposed by President-elect Donald Trump. Now a waiting game to see what happens next.
Where tariffs are going to be a bigger part of the conversation, that's going to be a more difficult economic environment for a global company like Cargill in the agricultural sector.
Now, Ian, you talked about what this means for Cargill, but what about you and me, all of the people watching, the regular consumer?
Yeah, well, Farrell told me it really all depends on the environment that we're in. And of course, the big question is, what does that mean, the environment? Well, what it means is that if we're not looking at a tariff environment, then this would be good for the grocery sector, and that would be good news for grocery shoppers. But as we know, President-elect Donald Trump has said he plans on imposing tariffs on other countries, which is why, like we said, it's now a waiting game to see what happens, because experts believe this will lead to increased prices for consumers.
All right, keeping our eyes on it. Thanks so much, Ian.